reached by 4 ethnic groups. The signal
Check, 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 check. ඇත්තටම මේ අවස්ථාව. මේක දැන් ඔන්නුනොත් කොහොමද? ඔයාලට මොකක් ගැන අහන්න? මොකක් ගැනද ඉන්නේ? මේ අවස්ථාව. ඇත්තටම මං හිතනවා මගේ ජීවිතේ මම අද තමයි වැඩිපුරම සාම්ප්‍රදායික ඇත්තට නැඹුරු වෙලා නර්තනයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඇත්තට මලේ රජුරෝ මේක දැක්කොත් අපිට හෙන හතම ගන්න කියලා. හෙන අම්මටත් එක හෙන ඉල්ලයි. මේ වෙන විපා වෙලී කික්කොන් ඇවිල්ලා අවස්ථාවේ මොකද කියන්නේ?
මම ඉන්නේ එකෙක්.
හරිද? අපිට මේ අවස්ථාවේ මොකද කියන්නේ? ඉවර රාජකාරී
Vinci once said, water is driving force of all nature. Sustainable water and wastewater management is essential for environmental conservation and human well-being. Innovative solutions such as advanced treatment
in the grand and prosperity.
To join at this auspicious ceremony, we extend heartfelt invitation today to Professor Jagat Manatunga, Dean, Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa, and Review Panel Chair of this Research Symposium. Engineer Deepthu Sumanasekara, Chairman, National Water Supply and Drainage Board. Professor G.G. Tushar Chaminda, Member of Board of Directors, National Water Supply and Drainage Board. Engineer T. Bhathidasan, General Manager, National Water Supply and Drainage Board. Former General Managers of National Water Supply Drainage Board, Engineer Lal Premanath, Dr. Mrs. Vasanta Ilangasinghe, Engineer Ruwan Liyanage. Engineer N.U.K. Ranatunga, Conference Chair, Additional GM PNP. Engineer D.V. Madavatta, Conference Chair. Engineer Kamal Dahanayaka, Senior Program Officer, ADB. Mr. Takuma Naguchi, representative from JICA. Professor Min Yang, representative from China Academy of Sciences. Ms. Asusa Kubota, representative from UNDP. And Mr. Flora Liu, our platinum sponsor, Hexing Electrical.
The warm glow of the oil lamps fills our surroundings. Let it serve as a beacon of inspiration, guiding us through the enlightening proceedings of the opening ceremony of the International Water Conference 2025.
Let us embrace a spirit of unity and pride that unites us all. Please stay standing as we show our respect and tribute to our cherished nation with the national anthem.
Obamaya apasatya
the history, dance has served as a profound expression of devotion, storytelling, and cultural heritage. Rooted in tradition and reverence, the puja dance embodies grace, spirituality, and the essence of artistic devotion, making it a fitting tribute to commence this momentous occasion.
It's with great honor that we now invite some talented performers from Sri Lanka Army to represent this captivating puja dance. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the artists with warm round of applause.
පොළොව මීකත දෙවිවරම් මංගලම් ජය මංගලම් ජය මංගලම් සිරි මංගලම් සිරි මංගලම්
Thank you very much. That talented performance from Sri Lanka Army, that splendid performance. I think they owe another big round of applause for that splendid dance.
A warm welcome is the first step towards a meaningful journey. And today, as we embark on this significant conference, we are privileged to be in the presence of esteemed dignitaries, experts, professionals, and dedicated to water sustainability. To formally extend a heartfelt welcome to all present here, it is our honor to invite a distinguished leader whose unwavering commitment to water resource management has been instrumental in shaping this event.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Engineer Deepthi U. Sumanasekara, Chairman, National Water Supply and Drainage Board, to deliver the welcome speech.
good morning to all of you. Honorable Minister, Urban Development, Consultees, Water Board staff and colleagues. Symposium as a very significant one because we have aligned that along with our other celebrations like World Water Day, because we are commemorating our 50th Golden Jubilee this year. Because Water Board was really came into power in 1975. It has been almost now 50 years. A very matured organization, having recognized by many in the water sector. Since the inception of this conference in 2016, we have had now eight conferences thereafter. Only one we missed because of the COVID pandemic, because the situation prevailed at that time did not permit us to have a magnificent event like this. And if I tell you about a brief history about our research and development activities, because for an institution like ours, and they proposed to have a separate dedicated unit for research and development division as a good division within the Water Board, recognizing its duties and responsibilities. So now, as of today, now in a more formal way, it started operating while encouraging employees to do their various research activities, especially during their postgraduate studies as a part of their academic requirement. Then we soon realized that we could do more, as we were having very specific and prominent technical capacity in the area. So we expanded our research activities in other sectors as well, inviting various other partners from outside institution as well. And as of today, we support not only the in-house researchers, but also outside undergraduate researchers from various research findings. So we somewhere in 2016, we organized our very first symposium, just for one day, not for 2 days. And so we found it was really encouraging, and then thereafter we started expanding that our research symposium, even including the outsiders from other countries, so making this an international event. So output of our research department, now established at JRDC in Kandy, is not limited to helping researchers to present quality papers. We are applying our research outcomes and mainstreaming those outcomes into our day-to-day operations. Few good examples are, in 2005, in this research and development division, they introduced a package treatment plant fabricated out of steel, and we installed the very first one in 2005 at Pugada, still functioning perfectly. So it was very cost effective, and there are maybe more than 50 plants all over the country right now in operation. Then very recently, use of sodium chloride as a disinfectant after a formal the process established. They use sodium chloride to disinfect water instead of chlorine, which would be much safer and more economical. Probably you all will be see some of those outputs as presentations outside this hall, and also during the paper presentation in the afternoon. So now my formal welcome. I take this opportunity to welcome our Minister, Honorable Anurakara Tilaka, Minister of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, who always has been playing a very supportive role to Water Board, and also has taken some big challenges during the past few months, like chromium issue unnecessarily. Your presence is a blessing for us, sir. Then I need to extend my warm welcome to Additional Secretary of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, representing Mr. Ranjit Ariratna, who is unable to attend this event because of his other some very important commitment. He had to be there. So my special welcome goes to Professor Asela Pathirana, who will be our keynote speaker today for the event, and who has been kind enough to come down all the way from beautiful Netherlands. Even most of us have been students there some time ago at IHE. And thank you very much. Thank you very much accepting our invitation and coming here. That I believe that you really would enjoy this event as an academic person. Also, I wish to welcome our keynote speaker for tomorrow, Professor Lalit Liyanage, while thanking him for accepting our invitation at a very short notice. Also need to welcome other foreign delegates who are here on our invitation and need to thank them for showing their keen interest on this annual event which is held in Sri Lanka in this beautiful country. So I believe that they will have enough, a little bit of free time so that they can visit our beautiful places, at least around Colombo. I should not forget to welcome all the presenters who are here today, making some interesting presentations in the upcoming sessions. They would be the key role players during the technical sessions after the tea break today. Then I warmly welcome all the other invitees, including those who are from other sector institutions, donor communities, lending agencies such as UNDP, WHO, World Bank, ADB, Chinese Academy of Science, and various other institutions, lending agencies, universities, other partner organizations, event sponsors, and the former and present board employees. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure that we all will have a very interesting day ahead, and wish you everyone a very fruitful time in the coming 2 days. The theme selected for this year is sustainable wastewater management through innovation, research, digitalization, and resilience for the future. We also would witness the signing of the international consortium agreement between NWSDB and IHE, Delft, Netherlands, which foster global partnership in water resource management and sustainability. I extend my best wishes once again to everyone to have a very fruitful 2 days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Sumanasekara, for setting the tone for the event today.
A nation's development is intricately linked to its urban planning and water management strategies. It is within this framework that we strive for sustainable solutions to ensure equitable access to safe drinking water.
Let us extend a warm welcome to invite Mr. M.M. Naimuddin, Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, to represent Mr. Ranjit Ayratna, who is unable to attend today, the Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development, Housing and Construction.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Anura Karunathilaka, Minister of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, Chairman Engineer Deepthi Sumanasekara, General Manager Engineer Bharat Dasan, and all officials, keynote speakers Professor Asela Pathirana and Dr. Lalit Liyanage, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, donor agencies, international organizations, well-wishers, and all those presented here today. It is with great pleasure that I extend my sincere greetings to all of you at this prestigious International Water Conference and the 9th Research Symposium of National Water Supply and Drainage Board. This gathering serves as a witness to our shared commitment to innovation, sustainability, and resilience in water and sanitation management. Ladies and gentlemen, water is not just a resource, it is a foundation upon which urban development, economic growth, and environmental sustainability thrive. Access to clean water, proper sanitation facilities, and good hygiene practices are fundamental for public health and well-being. As Sri Lanka moves forward on its path of modernization and self-sufficiency, the efficient and equitable management of water resources will be crucial in shaping the future of our agriculture, industries, tourism, and infrastructure development. By embracing technological advancements and implementing progressive policies, we can transform the water sector into a key driver of national prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, the global urgency to accelerate change in solving the water and sanitation crisis underscores the importance of adopting innovative solutions. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board stands at the forefront of this mission, ensuring water safety, efficiency, and infrastructure excellence. Its proactive efforts in research and development, digital transformation, and modern utility management reflect the necessity of continuous improvement in service delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, with rapid urban expansion and growing economic demands, our infrastructure must evolve to remain resilient and sustainable. Strengthening water and sanitation systems through data-driven decision-making, optimized resource management, and strategic investment will enable Sri Lanka to meet these challenges effectively. Furthermore, sound policies that enhance water governance, reduce non-revenue water, and improve service delivery are imperative to our long-term success. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference and symposium serve as invaluable platform for knowledge exchange, fostering collaboration, and inspiring solutions that will shape the future of Sri Lanka's water sector. I have no doubt that the discussions, research findings, and shared experiences from this event will contribute to the impactful initiatives that drive sustainable progress. I take this opportunity to commend the National Water Supply and Drainage Board for its leadership and dedication to advancing water and sanitation management in Sri Lanka. Let this event ignite a powerful movement toward transformative change, driving groundbreaking innovations, pioneering sustainable solutions, and shaping policies that will secure a water-resilient future for generations to come. I extend my best wishes for the success of this event and the fruitful collaboration it will inspire. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Naimuddin, for your invaluable insights. 2025 is a special year for National Water Supply and Drainage Board. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary with our contributions to providing water supply and sanitation services across the country. National Water Supply and Drainage Board facilitate and enhance access to clean drinking water and efficient sanitation systems. And we have improved public health and supported community development significantly.
To mark this celebration, we have a documentary video for you which celebrates the continuous development of National Water Supply and Drainage Board throughout these 50 years of journey.
The Sri Lankan cultural heritage is one of the richest and the most colorful in Asia. is a culture enriched by 4 ethnic groups: the Sinhalese, the Tamils, the Muslims, and the Burghers, by 4 of the main religions: Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. The island republic lies about 5 degrees north of the equator, and it covers an area of 65,610 square kilometers. The central part of the island is covered by mountains, the highest of which is Pidrutalagala. The land slopes gradually down to the coast, except in the north, which is marked by an undulating plain. Most of the rivers radiate from the central highlands like the spokes of a wheel, tempered by the surrounding sea and modified by the monsoons. The island enjoys an equatorial climate. The island's economy is basically agricultural. The southwest sector of the island is well watered by the rivers and the monsoons, but the north and the north-central sectors require irrigation. For this purpose, a network of artificial reservoirs known as tanks and canals were built by the Sinhala kings, producing a hydraulic civilization and earnings for the island the reputation of the granary of Asia. Sri Lanka is a country with a glorious history of water-based technology. Ancient irrigation systems, drainage systems, and water treatment systems that are still in existence today provides evidence to confirm these facts. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board was established in 1974 by the government of Sri Lanka with the aim of providing safe drinking water to the nation. Over the last 5 decades, the board has increased the pipe-borne water supply coverage in the country up to 49.7% through the 342 large and medium-scale water supply schemes across all 9 provinces in the island, servicing a total of 2.8 million domestic connections. Further, 260,354 connections are commercial, industrial, and institutional. Meanwhile, the basic sanitation coverage in the country is 91.5%, and the National Water Supply and Drainage Board has introduced a national policy on sanitation and a sanitation master plan to guide the relevant authorities to achieve the sanitation goals of the country. Thus, based on the Sustainable Development Goals, the board aims to achieve the total sanitation coverage of the country by the year 2030. Building drinking water infrastructure is one of the most challenging and complex undertakings. The construction involves dealing with nature's fury, such as floods, landslides, and all sorts of natural disasters. Also, laying distribution pipes along public roads is an extremely difficult exercise, managing public inconvenience and safety concerns which aggravates during the rainy season. This requires relentless fight against nature and the ever-increasing natural disasters. We, the NWSDB, on an average provide 20 to 30 tons of pure drinking water to your doorstep. One can imagine the complexity when you compare to other services which delivers a signal, pulse, or electrons. NWSDB has shown their resilience by bravely facing the tsunami, civil unrest, COVID pandemic, economic downturns, and excelled among most of the service organizations and has never let down the consumers and the nation during the time of need. The NWSDB treats the consumer as the king. All these achievements are even without price hikes over the last decades. The NWSDB has now changed a new leaf to face the current and contemporary challenges posed by global phenomena. Global warming, global economic meltdowns, rising production costs, and the pandemic, etc. The NWSDB has positioned themselves to face the global challenges through knowledge sharing, innovations, networking, training, capacity development by opening its doors to international arena. The NWSDB is building a gateway to international knowledge hub through repositioning and rebranding itself as SEVAS, Center of Excellence for Water and Sanitation, which will epitomize Center for Quality, Center for Knowledge, Center for Innovation, and aspire to become the regional knowledge hub in water and sanitation. Half a century of dedication is a testament to the great journey of NWSDB. The unstinting leadership, commitment, and irrepressible contributions of the staff are truly commendable. And today, we, the NWSDB, cherish the good memories, milestones, and achievements, and witness the success of providing clean drinking water to the people of Sri Lanka and for generations to come.
Wow, the journey of 50 years with many challenges, and we are here as one of the prestigious institutions in Sri Lanka. Really proud moment for all of us. I think all of us need a big round of applause for this 50 years journey of National Water Supply and Drainage Board.
So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to a significant highlight of today's event, the keynote speech. It is our privilege to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Asela Pratirana, Associate Professor in Water Infrastructure Asset Management. Professor Asela Pratirana is an Associate Professor of IIT Delft Institute for Water Education, specializing in water infrastructure asset management. Since 2006, he has been leading education and research in this field, developing the WIAM curriculum and delivering training in over 20 countries. His work focuses on sustainable planning, operation, and maintenance of water systems, ensuring long-term resilience and efficiency. He has contributed to advancements in digitalization, data-driven decision-making, and nature-based solutions, helping develop predictive tools that enhance infrastructure planning. With over 120 peer-reviewed publications and around 5,000 citations, his research are widely recognized. Professor Asela Pratirana holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Peradeniya and master's and doctoral degrees from the University of Tokyo. He has also held research positions at the United Nations University and UNESCO ICHARM, contributing to global water security and disaster risk reduction. Today, he brings his expertise to discuss how we can move beyond short-term infrastructure projects towards sustainable long-term asset management. Today, he will enlighten us with his insights on breaking project mentality, avoiding the build, neglect, rebuild cycle in water infrastructure investments in Sri Lanka. Let's give a warm round of applause and welcome Professor Asela Pratirana on stage.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, thank you very much for that very gracious introduction. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be back with family, should I say. I have a reason to use that word because the general manager and chairman of this organization both come from the same place I work. They did their postgraduate degrees there. But not only that, but if you look across this organization, National Water Supply and Drainage Board, I see about more than 100 faces who are familiar because they have been through the institute that I represent. So that way, this is a homecoming for me, in more sense than one. Mr. Minister, dignitaries, colleagues from the Water Board, ladies and gentlemen, my title today is Breaking Project Mentality. සිංහලෙන් කියනවා නම් ව්‍යාපෘති වලින් ඔබට කියන කතාව තමයි මම කියන්න යන්නේ. And I have a great embarrassment in my personal life, that is I'm completely illiterate in the second language of my country, Tamil. So I apologize for that, but I try to put translations there. Now, before I start on the content of the speech, let me share a personal experience. This is sort of why I select this topic recently, not only in Sri Lanka, but in different fora around the world. In a country that I was working in, I'm not going to name too many names here. I was, together with several colleagues, we were in the process of implementing this new and state-of-the-art water treatment system. And literally 200 meters apart from where we were working in commissioning this system, we saw this. This was simply 14 years old. Of course, I mean, there are reasons why it happened like that, but whatever the reason, as humanity, as a society, this is not a loss that we can afford to continue. So that is where the topic of build, neglect, rebuild cycle come in. This is a sort of vicious cycle that we are being part of, not only in low and middle income countries like Sri Lanka, but also in the advanced countries around the world. So this is not a problem of developing countries alone. But, it's very easy for us as a society as well as professionals to blame this on simplistic reasons, saying that, people are lazy, people don't realize the value of money. But, if you look at any household, especially in a country like Sri Lanka, you will see that that is not the explanation. People manage their assets quite well. Yeah, but when we come to the bigger organization, somehow something gives, and this reality happens. So it's very important for us to understand what are the deep underlying reasons for this BNR cycle. Now, my keynote today is not about very highbrow scientific topics. We'll keep that for another situation, but this is a very general reflections on this issue. And by intention, I'm keeping it not only within the water sector, but transcending a little bit into the other infrastructure and, general, human servicing sectors as well. Now, as I was alluding earlier, BNR cycle is a global problem. When you look at the recent literature, you can see hundreds of examples. These are some of them, not only from developing countries, but also from developed countries. I'm not going to go through these examples, just, if you do a Google Scholar search, you can find like so many examples of this. But I want to zero in a little bit on the last case of it's not United Kingdom, it's England, because, this is a case where privatization happened, thinking that that is the panacea, that's the solution for the BNR cycle and the lack of maintenance, but that very privatization is today creating another cycle of, even a bigger cycle of BNR cycle, neglecting of maintenance, which is evidence documented by Ofwat, the regulator, utility regulator in the England and the Wales. Now, looking at Sri Lanka, this is a problem that as professionals, all of you recognize. But let me tell you at the onset, the reasons why I'm showing this kind of pictures and reason why I'm deliberating on this topic is not to belittle any of the efforts we are making this country a better place. We all understand that there are very good reasons for these things to happen this way. It's not the fault of any single person or any single leadership or anything like that. But it's useful and it's important that we will bring this to the light and try to do as much as possible to avoid this from happening. This is a series of school buildings. You have all seen this kind of examples. Now, another very interesting example from another angle, in the recent past, if you have been watching the news about this country, you see that there were a lot of complaints about the state of the railway system, right? Among many other things. But when you look at it, you realize that, like many other service sectors in Sri Lanka, this system also has become the victim of several dramatic events in the recent history, like Easter Sunday attack and the aftermath of that, COVID pandemic, the economic collapse of the country. So it's very, tempting for us to, attribute that, railways do not work very well because we have been suffering from this. But look at this data. This is about the number of railway passengers and the number of railway kilometers in the country in the recent decade or so. You can see the onset of disease much earlier than these dramatic events. Already around in 2013-14, the curve turns, and the number of passengers painstakingly increase, but the number of railway kilometers go down. So these are very telltale signs of a system that, that is not taken care of well. Maintenance and renewal was not done really well. The attention we pay for our own private dwellings, houses, homes is not paid onto this kind of system. So the problem is not acute, right? But it's chronic. Another example, again keeping the politics and the decision making, the justification aside. In the recent news, you have seen these two numbers. The international airport in the south cost about 36 billion rupees, but in the last 13 years, if I'm not mistaken, the maintenance renewal upkeep related loss was of the same magnitude. I will come back to this example a little bit later when I'm trying to make several other points. So why we are not doing this? If you look at the data again, regular maintenance, upkeep, and renewal save lives. This is an example from the United States of America. You can see a very direct correlation between the amount of money spent on maintaining roads and the number of fatalities. There's a very strong negative correlation between them. It's not about enlarging the roads, it's not about making more lanes, it's not about easing the traffic, but simply maintaining
can save lives. A second example. I mean, these are random examples. There are hundreds of these. Wind farms. I mean, at the moment, Sri Lanka is also busy with ambitious plan of renewable energy, and one of the components of that is wind farming. You can make 35% cost reduction by doing regular maintenance. This has been proven by research. Another interesting one, maybe a little bit closer to the mission of Water Supply and Drainage Board. This is a well-researched study on the large-scale industrial chilling plants in industry, because industries have better data than utilities, so I took this as an example. And it has a whopping 500%. $1 invested in maintenance, you get 5 in return. So imagine that. Imagine pitching that to a private investor. I mean, how eager she will be to invest in that kind of business, but we just let it go. And much more related to the Water Supply and Drainage Board, the ROI, the return on investment on maintaining pumps, is 1 in 20. Every dollar you spend on maintaining pumps, you will get 20 in return. This is research data. This has been published and in peer-reviewed journals. So maintenance renewal is really good, but why are we not doing it? I try to put an explanation for this, but this statement by this dean of a Canadian university puts it very succinctly. You can read it. Make a සිංහලෙන් කියනවා නම් මේ නඩත්තු කරනවා කියන එකේ කිසි ගතියක් නැහැ, ලකයක් නැහැ. එහෙම නෙවෙයි අර ඇවිල්ලා මොන හරි පීත්තපටියක් කපලා නාමපුරවක් විවෘත කරලා මේ ගොඩනැගිල්ලක් හැදුවා කියන එක මේ දේශපාලඥයෙකුටත් ඒ වෙන වෙන තීරණ ගන්න ඉහළ නිලධාරීන්ටත් ජනතාවටත් මේ දේවල් නඩත්තු කරනවට වඩා ලොකු බලයක් ඇති කරන දෙයක්. කියන්නේ ඡන්ද ගෙනන දෙයක්. ඉතින් ඕක තමයි යථාර්ථය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් අනිත් පැත්තෙන් කියනවා අපි මේ ඇවිල්ලා මේ මිනිස්සයා සල්ලිත් වියදම් කරලා මේ පාර බ්ලොක් කරගෙන මට වාහනේ ගෙනියන්න තැනකුත් නැහැ. අන්න ඒක තමයි අපේ මේ ඔය මේන්ටනන්ස් සම්බන්ධ තියෙන ආකල්පය. ආයෙත් මතක තියාගන්න මම මේ කාටවත් දොස් කියනවා නෙවෙයි. මොකද මේක ලෝකෙ හැමතැනම තියෙන දෙයක්. මේ කියලා තියෙන කැනඩාවේ මිනිස්සෙක්. Now another little bit of well researched study. This is from the Pacific Island states, done by a group of Australians. They have tried to find what are the key reasons for this BNR cycle. They see 3 categories. One is obvious one, resource constraints. You don't have money, so that you don't do maintenance, but I really don't believe that is the prime cause in many environments. But then you have organization capabilities. I want to link that to a very important point. That is, the compeers earlier, as well as earlier speakers, were talking about this. That is data-driven decision making. When you don't have information, when you don't have what needs to be maintained, and when you don't have what kind of good things you get out of that maintenance, forget it. It's not going to happen. But the most important is on the top. These are reasons to do with political economy. Political incentive that I mentioned earlier, that does not come from politicians. It comes from much more deeper human nature. It comes from the society. The second point is, I know that representatives from IFIs are here, but the foreign aid sometimes causes this, the way that foreign aid is delivered to countries sometimes cause this situation to be worsened. Because foreign aid, I have been working for UNDP for a few years during the COVID period, so I know what are the pressures you have on that side for disbursements. So what you focus on is generally disbursement. That is, you get a project, get into the project mentality, do it, deliver it, hell or high water, you make a success out of it, and then you move on to the next project. That's the reality. Again, that's not the fault of IFIs or the people who work there, but that's the reality we live in. So, as a bit of an antidote for this, I'm trying to propose this idea of water infrastructure asset management. Now, when we talk about this, usually you start with a historical narrative. You can start with issues like Piper Alpha oil platform disaster in the North Sea region associated with United Kingdom in 1988, or the US landmark report called Fragile Foundations, the State of the Federal Infrastructure, but I'm not going to do that. Maybe we can approach this topic with a very different justification as well. This is some historical land use images of city of Greater Colombo area. What you see is that there is a dramatic urbanization that is happening. Urbanization means that you are going to have more people, you are going to have more households, you are going to have more industries, hence you are going to have larger water demand. At the same time, the water supply system, water production and supply system in this country, especially in Colombo area, is a very mature system. I use the term mature because it's more than 100 years old if you look at in the grand scheme of things. Then what you have is a system, whether you like it or not, that is not shining new, but you have assets in different periods in their lives, right? Very mature ones, very new, at different conditions. So in this context, you are pressured with two different directions. On the one hand, you have increasing demand. On the other, you have some very real world constraints, right? Some of which are rising from the nature that, from the sense that you are inheriting a system that is, that has been evolving over the years, not in a very optimal way oftentimes. So the challenge we are facing is providing more service with less resources. Sounds a little bit contradictory, but that is the challenge we are facing, that we are trying to solve with asset management. Now, in 2006, when we started the curriculum on asset management at IHE Delft, Institute of Water Education, myself and Kala Vairomurthy, who was my colleague at that time, and few other people, we started the curriculum together. And we tried to pitch this around in countries, different organizations, but the idea was a little bit too new. But if you look back at the last 2 decades or so, you can see that this has been gaining traction. Almost all IFIs, the international players, they have published guidelines on asset management, and they are insisting now that this is a very important part and parcel of development support in order to make sustainable development. So what is this? First, let's try to understand what is it not. Especially when we are trying to introduce this, Water Board is a little bit beyond the stage of trying to introduce it, because Water Board has introduced this and now in a certain stage of maturity. Maybe that is the very stage that you have to be very careful about what it is and what it is not. First of all, it is not a software. It's very tempting to think that asset management can be, reduced to a software, very sophisticated software system. It is not. And the second point is even more, can be controversial. It's not maintenance. Just let's not make the argument that saying that in the good old days people did maintenance really well, so if you go back to the good old days everything will be hunky-dory. No, it's a little bit more than that. And accountants usually say asset management we have been doing for ages because it's about linear depreciation, accounting, inventorizing and so on. It's also bigger than that. So what is asset management? So this is the definition. Please read it. දැන් මේක සිංහලෙන් කියනවා නම් මේක මේ පරිවර්තනය කරලා තියෙන්නේ මම. ඒ නිසා මේක අඩුපාඩු තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. යටිතල සම්පත් කළමනාකරණය කියලා තමයි ඒකට කියන්න පුළුවන් වචනේ. මනා හා තිරසාර සේවයක් සඳහා සීමිත සම්පත් ප්‍රශස්ත ලෙස භාවිතා කිරීමට තාර්කික හා විද්‍යානුකූල හා මනා සම්බන්ධීකරණයකින් යුතු සම්පත් යෙදවීමේ තීරණ ගැනීම් ක්‍රමවේදයක් ආයතනික ප්‍රධාන ධාරාවට එකතු කිරීම. that idea of Pradhana Dhara, mainstream is very important. Mr. Chairman was mentioning this about research. Mainstreaming the research into the day in, day out activities of the board. Similarly, in order to succeed in asset management, you must make asset management the way you run the organization. Simple. So that transformation, Water Supply and Drainage Board is today at the brink of that transformation. So it's a very important and opportune time to discuss this topic. But then, what it is, I mean, over the last several decades, I have consolidated this into an idea of explaining it with 6 questions that lead into 3 simple decisions. First, what do we have? That is, people who are familiar with asset management here know that it's about inventorizing process, right? And then what is the condition? Is it in a bad condition, good conditions, or something in the middle? All the components that you have in the system. Condition does not equate to age. I showed the picture of Labugama reservoir earlier. I would consider it as the reservoir itself in a tip-top condition, even though it's about 100 years old. So it's not only about the age. It's much more complicated. And then the third most important question in that category is, what if it fails? This failure consequence can have internal consequences. Water Supply and Drainage Board might have a failure in the main supply lines from the Labugama and Katluwa reservoirs, and as a result, you may have a supply outage. Not in Colombo because you have other systems as well. But at the same time, you might create a flood in some area unintentionally. So these internal and external factors you have to consider. Now, what are the decisions? What to prioritize? Short-term prioritization. Where should you spend your money on? That's the first question we need to answer. Second question is, what should the future be? I very intentionally use these 2 terms here, will and should, because the future is twofold. One is what will happen in the external environment, that's very uncertain, and also what is our vision? What should the future be? So it's an interplay between these 2, right? And we should have an idea about it. I'll come to that in a minute. And how to finance this, right? So these are the 6 questions and the 3 decisions that we are talking about in asset management, and this applies to water supply, drainage, electricity supply, even running a business. So it's very general. Asset inventory is a living database of assets with attributes, the location, age, type, capacity, etc. So we consider this as a foundation of any asset management approach in organization. You should know what you have. And you will be surprised that how many organizations do not know the complete answer. Actually, I can put it, any organization that is running a complex business almost always don't know everything they have. Even in the developed countries, whether extremely well-running utilities, still you have. So it's a quest. It's a journey that you have to go on improving. But especially when you look at water utilities and such systems, there is another complexity. That is, you have to look at it as a hierarchy. To give an example, the first level in the hierarchy is the system level. That is, if you take the Colombo water supply region, you have this kind of supply points. Again, this is my diagram, so there may be mistakes. And then you have demand distribution regions. And then these are connected in sometimes complicated, sometimes not so complicated ways. So then you have a transmission line. So this is the very high level overview of asset system in the Colombo region. Very intentionally, I did not go to the whole island because I don't think that Water Supply and Drainage Board needs to have a, asset management overview of the whole island. It's much more beneficial in a way to look at it at this level as your system level. Then you have the network level, and as an example, if you take the Labugama Kaltuava reservoir treatment plant system and the main pipes that are bringing water to the Colombo area, Maharagama, that part. Then that's a network level system. Then you go into much more detail there. You can go into much more detail. And then the third level, if you take an example, the treatment plant in Labugama. There is an officer in charge there, and she will be able to look at into much more detail of that system. So that hierarchy is very important when you are inventorizing assets, when you are looking at failure consequences, when you are looking at condition assessment, things like that. So usually you do condition assessment by giving a rating, and 1 to 5. And then that is a good indication of what is the failure probability of each and individual assets. But when you talk about this, technology comes to my mind, our minds. There are a lot of technologies associated with this, but my experience is be very, very careful about selecting technology, because it's not about technology, because technology also costs money. It's about a discipline within the organization. It's about collecting this kind of data. It's also capturing the experience of the experienced people, be it at the very top of the organization, all the way down into a mechanic who is taking care of a pump system. Capturing that experience is extremely important. Then you have this next question, what if it fails? This is an example from the Netherlands. This is the water supply, trunk water supply system, one of the supplies to the Amsterdam city. Untreated water coming from the Utrecht area. So you can see 2 pipelines there, right? Look at this pipe. These are quite old pipelines, about 60, 70 years old. So, like Labugama Reservoir, a little bit in that same magnitude. They are called WRK pipelines, and I'll come back to this later as well about starting asset management. These pipelines, you can see that they are connected across different land use categories. When you have been to Netherlands, that's where you land as the airport. That's a dried lake. That's a low position even compared to Netherlands. Imagine a pipe failure next to that. And imagine a similar pipe failure next to a farm. You are talking about dramatically different consequences of failure on a system that is the same age, same probability of failure, but simply because you happen to be in the wrong place, the consequence can be higher all over, right? Like this. This is a very old video footage from Maryland, United States of America. You can see that boat, and very quickly you can see it's a huge flood. And that flood was not created by rainfall or a river discharge, but something that went wrong in a water supply system, right? So being aware of this kind of things is very important. To summarize those 3 points, what we have, what is condition, what it fails. As personal experience of me, what are the best practices? First point is complexity is not a plus. Engineers, technocrats, academicians get to make things too complicated sometimes. And that's not a benefit in this field. And please don't think of it as a project. Asset management itself is not a project, it's a process. It's a state of mind. It's getting into the institutional discipline of doing it until kingdom comes, until forever, okay? It's not a project, it's not something that you finish within 1 year and say that, asset management done. Water safety plan done. No, it's an evolving system, it has to be within the culture of the organization. And another very important point, it's important to keep people before the tools. I have seen many organizations around the world, they have gone into very, sophisticated, state-of-the-art, software systems, tooling, modeling systems, and so on. And as a result, actually spending millions, they have completely crushed and, destroyed the innovation of the people who are using them. The technology and the complexity used in the wrong way. So it's so important that, you find that within your organization, where the people are comfortable, that does not mean you always go with the old ways. You try to change those things, but people come first, not the tools, not something that some consultant says it's a state of the art, so please use it. Then you top down impose it on people, and that can really crush innovation in organization. Assessments cost money, that's what I told you about. just because the technology is over there, sophisticated models are there, does not mean that you should or you can use all of those things, looking at the bottom line of the organization and the cost benefit of those decisions. Use every opportunity to gather data. That's so important because there are so many opportunities that you can gather data and document them for free in organizations like Water Supply and Drainage Board, but this is not a lecture to Water Supply and Drainage Board. This is general reflections of an academician who have been, jaded in this field for 20 years, okay? So it applies maybe other places as well. And do not let perfection to be the enemy of starting it. Regularity, continuing with something is much more important than having the perfect system. Once you have those three questions to some degree addressed, I use that term some degree deliberately because never try to be perfect on those things before you're moving on. It's about a process, okay? There are hundreds of simple tools and frameworks that you can use to help you make decisions, to make your day-to-day life in running the organization easy. Finally, that should be the objective of this whole exercise, right? So this is one such example, one very primitive, simple example. If you take the x-axis here, it's a failure consequence. What happens if something fails, like that flood or something small? Y-axis is failure probability, whether something has a higher probability of failing or not. So you can put all your assets in a system like this, depending on the hierarchy. If it's an entire Colombo system, you put those big blocks there. If it's a treatment plant, you put little pumps, the sand filter, things like that. Then you can start, using these kind of things to make decisions. First thing you see that when you have a combination of high failure consequence and high failure probability, that is something that should make you not sleep, because that's a disaster waiting to happen. So that's where you really first apply your money, where you allocate your short-term allocations. And then you have things like, I took this example very deliberately simply because something is old does not mean it's in poor condition. But something in a relatively good condition, but at the same time, failure of that is unthinkable because it can cause a lot of damage. So because of that, even when we have, good things of good condition, if the consequence is high, what we do is we keep on monitoring them, because we don't want them to fail. Then you have another category of things. It's a bit hard to come with a good example for this. The best example I can come is what happened in the Netherlands, in the Amsterdam area. The water supply company found that the connection between the water meter and the upstream, that connections were failing. People were complaining, so they had to pay a lot of money as compensation. Somehow it was a manufacturing fault or aging or something, it was failing. So then the water company, very deliberately, I was witness to those discussions sometimes, discussing what can we do. Simple answer is then you do a cost-benefit analysis, because one or two of those failures is not the end of the world. You can pay the consumer, compensate, and move on. But at the same time, if you have too many failures, then it's impacting so how to balance those two? That is where the cost-benefit decision may come in. And then you have another things. If you are lucky, you have a lot of assets there. Actually, in many water companies, you do. Do nothing. Do nothing does not mean you don't do the routine maintenance. You do. But other than that, you just let them run their course and fail, and then you replace them. So that is one of the examples of how you can make decisions using this kind of asset management way of thinking. There are hundreds of other tools for this. Then, asset management is also about anticipating and having a vision about the future. What will the future bring? And how to finance it, those things. Like, as a responsible organization, you need to have some vision about it. But at the same time, remember, that vision is fraught with uncertainties. Because you are talking about the future, nobody anticipated the very dramatic events, dramatic negative events that happened in Sri Lanka. I showed you earlier related to railway example. So history is a good guidance. So it will happen in the future, this kind of, positive and negative things will take place that you cannot anticipate. So as, Eisenhower and many people before that actually said, plans are useless, planning is everything. So you know that one plan is going to change invariably, but that does not give you an excuse not to do planning. Keep on planning, keep on changing your plans, go in cycles, and that's a very important lesson that we learn from this field that applies to some other places as well. And in any complex organization, you have, two worlds. One is where, people like the general manager, the chairman, and the upper management, and the board, and the political backstopping support for that. They are involved in thinking what, strategically. Where should I want to bring the water board in the next 10 years, right? And how should I do that? So that's the left side. And then there is another thousands of people who are involved in running the water board in day-to-day things. Now, ideally, it should be like this. There should be a sort of harmony and the coexistence and very strong communication between the two, but oftentimes that does not happen. And that leads into disaster, because then the upper management starts daydreaming, the politicians and so on, because they make plans that are not founded on reality. At the same time, the rest of the organization becomes into the situation that proverbially you are building a house without a plan. So today you put a foundation, so it's not going to be a good house then. So how to create these two? So having that synergy is extremely important, and this is easier said than done. As an academic, I can go and preach about this very, very easily, but I know that this is not easy. Actually, we made this diagram for the Ministry of Infrastructure in the Netherlands, for the organization called Rijkswaterstaat, where we found that very problem, this separation of the top elite who are making decision about the future and the rest of us who are maintaining the system. So you can see that it's not something that is, I'm saying that only developing countries are having that problem and things like that. But to have that kind of harmony, then I want to move into another point that can be a little bit controversial. That is, we need a cultural shift. When you have very strong hierarchies, when you have, very strong sense of seniorities, very strong sense of who is entitled to the head chair and where the rest of us are going, rest of the others are going to sit and all sorts of things, they lead, to quote some social scientists, I'm not one, they call it a mum effect, organizational silence, power distance, fear-based culture. There are different aspects being expressed by those terms. Finally, you end up having a situation of a yes culture. People, just listen to the hierarchy and say, okay, yes, you are. And that can very easily lead into this issue, the situation of emperor without the clothes. You all know that old adage, that emperor, who got this very expensive cloth from a con man. Actually, he didn't got anything, so he was just very proudly going naked around the world. And then it took a little child to say that, look, emperor is without any clothes. Because all the other people around emperor, they were, subject to this yes culture issue. So that's something that we have to deal with in some countries more than the other. Right? Now, something else I want to talk about when it comes to strategic planning and the long-term thinking and the cultural shifts, things like that. That is about how we should try to balance the urgent with the long-term. X-axis here is uncertainty. When you look at long-term visions, plans, and things like that, they are uncertain by definition. That's why you call them long-term plans. They are going to change, but you have to have your goal in mind and strive towards. At the same time, you have you have urgent issues, firefighting issues. To get more grasp on this idea, let me first share something from the society today. You know, the current government is, bombarded with a lot of immediate, activities, which are very reasonable, by the way. The salary increase, addressing the backlog in the port, and the rice pricing dilemma, like satisfying both farmers as well as the consumers and keeping healthy market going on. These are very urgent issues. There are hundreds of these, but I just selected 3. These are very urgent issues that are firefighting issues that you have to be busy with. But at the same time, you have much more loftier long-term issues like education reforms, Clean Sri Lanka, alleviating the rural poverty, and this kind of goals. Now, in order to succeed in any complex environment, whether it's the government or the Water Supply and Drainage Board or any other complex organization, you need to have that magic word there. How you can bring those things into harmony as much as you can, and not get completely overwhelmed by the urgent firefighting issues, but keep the goal about what you want to achieve in the future. Now, looking at Water Supply and Drainage Board, I see that things like customer complaints, sometimes you get very high complaints in one area, then you immediately send someone, you try to address it. So, and new constructions, we have a big project, and then you immediately put a lot of resource in that. You have a PMU, the project leader, and do that, and the pipe replacements coming from that. And at the same time, you have your long-term goals, like reducing failure rates, non-revenue water reduction. I take this as a long-term goal. It's not a project. As a project, it never succeeds. It succeeds as a long-term goal in organization, step-by-step technique. Cost of operations, how to bring it down. Providing a better level of service, like we all know that there are only very few places in the middle-income countries, including here, that you have a real 24-hour water supply, but our goal is that. Those are very long-term goals, right? So how to have harmony between the two, that's very important. Again, as an academic, it's very easy for me to say these things, but it's very difficult to do this, I acknowledge that, but we have to strive to do that. Talking about the future, life cycle cost accounting. This is about the analysis of all relevant and identifiable financial cash flows regarding the acquisition, use, and decommissioning. Accountants here understand these techniques really well. They have been doing this forever, but I think you have to bring this to a mainstream of an organization. There are equations, there are tools, but those are not so important here because as seasoned, experienced people, you can find them, you can use them, but that's not my point. The point I want to make is this, that is, take an example of a building that cost about 1 billion rupees to build. It's a lot of money. So you get overwhelmed and you have to find that money somewhere. So you have to get some loan or some donor interested or the central government funding. So it looks like a very big thing, but sometimes we get obsessed with this. But what we forget is, don't pay too much attention to those numbers because different sources, different infrastructures give different ratios. But it is generally like this. 3 to 5 times larger, the operation and maintenance cost over about 30-year period. This comes even to me today as a surprise, even though I have seen a lot of data, because you don't believe it, but that's how it is. But especially when you are looking at a building like an airport terminal or a convention hall or something like that, the business cost or the opportunities is actually much, much larger, right? Again, there are different data for this. Some people say it's 1 to 5 to 200. Some say that it's 1 to 1.5 to about 15. So numbers change, but this ratio, this idea that the construction cost or the capital cost of something is only a fraction of the money you spend over time is a very important point that we should all remember when we are planning ideas, services, and making them. So now, when you look at that, this is not a very much surprise, right? You know, something that took about 37 billion to make, took almost that same amount of money over 13 years to. This is a loss because this project was not well thought of and planned. But you know, even if it is a loss, that money will be spent simply because you have to earn much more than that in order to make it a viable business case. You know, a couple of examples from other places. Again, these are very random examples from like I found from different places. There are many. This is the base hospital of Varakapola, from close to the area I come from. Very impressive building that was donated by JICA. You know, it was a very big need in that place, so all is good. But when you talk to the people, you know, directors and so on, who are really involved with the upkeep and maintenance and running of this building, then you start seeing a lot of issues. One is that the design of the building is not very conducive to running a hospital the way the Sri Lankan hospital system is run. But more than that, what they say is the maintenance is really, really difficult. So whoever designed that system in the beginning did not pay a lot of attention about that maintenance part. So that is why I showed that example. When you are thinking about something, think about the whole life cycle. Another example from, again from the area I come from in Sri Lanka, at the tail end of a project, certain decision makers have decided that, we have to buy some big screens for telemedicine. So what they thought is that telemedicine, the most major investment is buying the big screen, right? To make a long story short, the screens are still in different hospitals, not used at all. You know that electronics, if you don't use them about 2 or 3 years, the value is lost actually, because it's new models come and so on. But that's another example. Again, this is not like somebody who is looking from the top and saying that, you guys don't do it really well, you are wasting money. No, that's not the point. This has been happening all around the world, not only in developing countries or middle income countries, but even in developed countries. This is a human nature, nothing but, right? So what I'm trying to plead here is, let's bring these things to the outside, expose them, and try to make the happening of it as less as possible. That's all we can do. But so it's very important that you need to create a business case for any investment. Business case does not mean you sell everything, because I know that Water Board is not an organization that's supposed to make profit. It's an organization that runs as a service, but still you have to look at it as a business case. So business case is very important, business case before building something, right? I mean, there are so many examples from around the world. So there is this saying that don't look at a gift horse in the mouth. Nikan denasiyage dat balanne epa kiyala kataවක් තියෙනවා. Now, if you get informed with the life cycle costing and this strategic way of thinking and how much money you end up wasting, මෙන්න මෙහෙම එකක් කියන්නත් අපිට හිතෙනවා. නිකන් එහෙම නැත්නම් ණයට දෙන ආසියාගේ දත් බොහොම සුපරිස්කාරකාරීව බලන්න කියලා. මොකද මේ වියදම් කරන මුළු අනුපාතික බැලුවොත් මේ මුලින් මේ ඒකට වියදම් කරන යම් කිසි දෙයක් හදන්න වියදම් කරන වියදම කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට 10න් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, 20න් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහර වෙලාවට 200න් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. 200න් එක ගැන විතරක් කල්පනා කරලා අර 200 ගැන කල්පනා නොකර ඉන්න එක එච්චර මේ ප්‍රඥාවන්ත වැඩක් නෙවෙයි කියන එක තමයි මේකෙන් මට කියන්න ඕන වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Yeah, I have 2 more minutes. Let's look at opportunities and challenges. Asset management is a very fast evolving field. So it's very important for an organization who is doing asset management to be very agile about this. Today, if you look at it, there are some, again, this is my opinion, if you look at it, there are some very interesting trends that are happening. One is about people's interest in joining decision making. That's very important. We sometimes call it citizen science, but generally people interested in taking part of how their services are run. That's very important. With the advent of mobile phones and other things, we have very cheap sensors now, which you can really use to get really enrich good data about it. And then at the same time, you have these developments like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data related things that are becoming very, very easy to apply. So the challenge is not that, challenge is data. When you have data, you can do wonders with that kind of data. But at the same time, I want to share something that is many failures in integrating infrastructure asset management despite the interest in around the world. I have seen many organizations that make genuine effort to do this well, but sometimes do not get the traction. Why? The reason is this. Reusing the graph before, you need to look at it as not as a project, not something you do within 1 year or 4 years and be done with this and move to the next thing. Asset management is not like that. It has to be in a cycle. It has to be a process. It has to be embedded in the organization, right? For example, WaterNet in Amsterdam, I told you that I will come back to this figure because this is a historical figure. This is the one they use as a trigger for asset management. They did a very, convincing study about what to do with these water pipes using asset management principles, and showed to the management and the rest of the people. Management was easier than the rest of the people in the organization, that asset management is something that works. Then increasingly it becomes easier and easier. So generally what you should do is find 1 or 2 problems that water infrastructure asset management can help, be it reducing the NRW, but short-term goals the better, and then start there. Show the success, show the benefits, and move to the bigger scope, like that. Now, very last, because I know that I have only about 1 more minute, looking at the water supply and drainage board, what is really positive about this organization? No wonder, because it's 50 years old, and they have already started this process. There is a additional general manager and staff that are busy with asset management in this organization. That's really good. The next step is how you can bring that to the whole organization. And that's a very challenging job indeed. That's where you are at the moment. Because, to quote one of the utility managers that were relatively better in doing asset management, what she told me is that simply my definition of asset management is how you run an organization well. Simple. That's it. Right? So finally, your goal should be that. So at some day, if the term asset management vanishes from your organization, you should be happy, because that means you have embedded all the lessons, all the good practices into the mainstream of the organization, and then you don't have to use a term even like asset management, and I'll be without a job very happily, if that happens. If you look at pivotal points or marmasthana in water supply and drainage board, completely my interpretation, I see that general manager, deputy general managers, and OICs. These are, very naturally the places where, you have this structure under them, where, you can look at it almost like, general manager is at the whole island level, but if you look at the DGMs, then you naturally go into the system level, you go into network level, and you go into the different object level, right? So asset management units' responsibility is to feed these people, and you can see the arrows are bidirectional. That's with very intentionally, because it has to be a bidirectional communication. It's not a directive that's coming from, but how you can create the harmony within the organization and how you can help these people and groups under them to run the organization better. That should be the goal of asset management. And I know that you are doing it really well. It takes time, but it's happening really well, and all signs are really good. Conclusions. I want to share 3 messages with you. Maintenance is not sexy. So don't imagine that you are going to get natural political or leadership credit by doing that. But the best thing you can do is to use communication to your advantage. And sometimes examples, huge return of investment that, not showing papers, but showing cases of your organization can really convince people. Numbers can help there, right? And try to harmonize the long term and short term, and then be an example most of you are at some level higher management, so be an example to the other people. Try to be an example. So do not go for pet projects or knee-jerk projects, but really look at the cost benefit, the life cycle of decisions, and show that you are looking at that. That also goes a long way. And third point is extremely important, that is data is equal to goal. We all should learn how to make data-driven decisions, and for that you need data. So tools, keep them as simple as possible. Inaccessible tools are useless, so everybody should have access and be happy with the tool, how it works. Data, try to make it as open as possible. We use the term data democracy these days to explain this situation within an organization. So my time is up, and I have run out of about 2 minutes. So I hope that I was able to convey a maybe simple message that is still somewhat useful in your day-to-day jobs or running an organization or a unit. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for your attention.
Asset management, one of the hot topics in NWSDB these days. Thank you very much, Professor Asela Patirana, for such an insightful session. So my invitation goes to again Professor Asela Patirana. Dear sir, please come on to stage. And my next invitation, Chairman, National Water Supply and Drainage Board, Engineer Deep Sunusekara, General Manager, Engineer T. Bhartidasan, and Conference Co-Chair, Additional GM, Policy and Planning, Engineer NUK Ranatunga, to present the token of appreciation to Professor Asela Patirana. Please come to the stage, sir. Thank you very much. Now we are moving to a special event. National Water Supply and Drainage Board is expanding its partnership beyond the national borders, strengthening international collaboration to advance sustainable water management. In 2022, National Water Supply and Drainage Board signed an MOU with IHE Delft Institute for Water Education to promote institutional development, research, and higher education. Building on this, National Water Supply and Drainage Board, together with 3 community-based water supplies, University of Moratuwa, and 2 Maldivian water partners, secured €400,000 grant from Netherlands government, with the cabinet approval from Sri Lanka government to proceed the project. This 4-year Camp Transform project focuses on innovative asset management, research, training, and community empowerment. It aims to transform stakeholders into shareholders, equipping communities with tools and knowledge needed for sustainable water services, aligning with Sri Lanka's goal of safe and adequate water for all. Today, consortium agreement exchanged between National Water Supply and Drainage Board and IHG Delft reinforces our shared commitment to strengthening small-scale community water systems. It represents a collective effort towards resilient and sustainable water management for future generations.
We extend our warm invitation to Professor Asela Patirana, Associate Professor of IHG Delft Institute for Water Education, and Engineer T. Bhartidasan, General Manager of National Water Supply and Drainage Board, to exchange the consortium agreement for Camp Transform project. We also cordially invite Additional General Manager, Consumer and Asset Management of National Water Supply and Drainage Board to accompany for this event. Thank you to all the dignitaries.
Research and development, we commonly say R&D, is a crucial component for innovation and advancement of various fields, including technology, healthcare, engineering, and environmental science.
Research and Development section in National Water Supply and Drainage Board was established in 1999, and they have been making significant impact to National Water Supply and Drainage Board since then. The concept of Research Symposium was initiated by then Assistant General Manager Research and Development, Engineer N.U.K. Ranatunga, in 2015. And it has expanded to international arena from 2022 onwards. Now we are going to witness a video documentary of research and development activities carried out by Research and Development section of National Water Supply and Drainage Board.
The Research and Development, or R&D section of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, NWSDB, plays a pivotal role in advancing the organization's vision and mission. By undertaking diverse research projects, we develop practical solutions, enhance efficiency, and create innovative technologies to improve the nation's water supply and sustainability.
R&D section re-established at JRDC premises in 2021. There onward, we got the strategic advantage of being inside a university. The main objective of R&D section is conducting in-house research, collaborative research, and facilitating NWSDB staff to conduct their research activities. And on top of that, we are conducting Research Symposium annually.
Located at the Joint Research and Demonstration Center, JRDC, within the University of Peradeniya, the R&D section benefits from access to expert knowledge and state-of-the-art research facilities. Our key initiatives include conducting in-house research, collaborative projects, supporting NWSDB researchers, and organizing symposiums to share knowledge and findings. One of our pioneering projects is the production of hydrated lime using calcined dolomite for on-site pH correction. This innovative process has been patented and successfully implemented at the Ruanwala Water Treatment Plant or WTP, with plans to expand to other treatment plants across Sri Lanka.
Monthly requirement of hydrogen line for NWSDB 420 watts and few watts from other countries. So this explores using local dolomite produce hydrated line. So this helps NWSDB to reduce import and ensure a steady supply for water treatment. The next step is setting industry standards and optimize production.
The R&D section is also exploring the potential agricultural applications of lime sludge, a byproduct of hydrated lime production. In collaboration with the Horticultural Crop Research and Development Institute or HORDI Gannorua, we are investigating its use as a fertilizer, soil pH corrector and soil conditioner. Additionally, its potential in skim coat and plaster production for the construction industry is under study.
We conducted this research to determine the effect of application of lime sludge to correct the pH. Actually, we got the positive results from this experiment.
To enhance sustainability and reduce dependence on imported bleaching powder, we have developed an on-site sodium hypochlorite generation system, currently implemented in 4 regional support centers. This system utilizes locally available industrial salt and is being expanded to large-scale plants to replace chlorine gas in water disinfection.
This is the high-strength sodium hypochlorite generation setup. This setup produces sodium hypochlorite using salt water. After produced, it helps to disinfect the water in the water treatment process.
In our effort to improve water quality, we are actively researching methods to reduce manganese levels in treated water. By testing activated carbon and biological trickling filters, we aim to lower manganese levels to 0.02 milligrams per liter, surpassing the SLSI drinking water standard and addressing distribution system concerns.
This is the manganese removing biological trickling filter. It's designed to efficiently removing of manganese level in potable water. In continuous mode, this setup achieves over 90% of manganese removal.
Managing wastewater sludge is a growing challenge in Sri Lanka. To tackle this issue, the R&D section is exploring hydrothermal carbonization or HTC, which transforms sludge into hydrocar and liquid fertilizer. In partnership with the Horticultural Crop Research and Development Institute, HORDI, we are testing these products in agricultural plantations, demonstrating their potential for sustainable waste management.
This is the autoclave reactor we use to convert wastewater sludge into hydrochar and processed water. It is composed with a reaction chamber, a stirrer equipped with a motor and a pressure gauge to indicate pressure. And the temperature and the motor speed is controlled by this control unit.
We are testing the hydrochar for the soil amendment properties, and this trial is conducted and this is going on.
Premature corrosion of pipes and fittings is a major issue in Sri Lanka's tropical climate. To address this, R&D has developed a graphene oxide zinc oxide epoxy composite, which offers superior barrier protection against corrosion, ensuring the durability of water infrastructure. Innovative graphene oxide-coated natural fiber technology has been developed for removing heavy metals and contaminants from wastewater. Extensive testing has shown that this low-cost sustainable solution significantly enhances the performance of municipal and industrial water treatment systems.
This is the experimental setup to remove manganese and other contaminants in wastewater. We use graphene oxide fiber for this column and this membrane. From this column, we can remove around 96% of manganese, and we currently test these membranes in our laboratory.
Innovation in filtration has led to the development of burned coconut shell or BCS filter media, which reduces backwash water usage while maintaining effective filtration. Initial testing at the Ambatale filter columns has shown promising results, and a pilot project is planned at the Lunuatta WTP RSC UA. Addressing the challenge of water treatment plant sludge disposal, our comprehensive research has explored its use as a construction material, collaborating with the local institutions and industries. We have successfully produced interlock tiles, University of Moratuwa, terracotta tiles, Samagi Industries, roof tiles, Rajakumara Tile Factory, ceramic tiles, Royal Ceramics PLC, cement blocks, ICC, Eco Bricks, National Engineering Research and Development Center. This initiative not only promotes sustainable waste management, but also adds value to construction materials in the industry.
Water treatment sludge has become huge burden to National Water Supply and Drainage Board as well as water industries. For that one, R&D section of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board has done so many experiments and research, collaborative research with various institutions. Finally, we have done collaborative research with NERD, National Engineering Research and Development Center, and produce these eco bricks.
In this journey, we have many achievements: research publications, patent certification, and cost saving by various innovative products.
These successes would not have been possible without the dedication, commitment, and expertise of our officials, researchers, and collaborators. As we continue to innovate and explore new frontiers, NWSDB's R&D section remains committed to advancing research and technology to ensure a sustainable and water-secure future for Sri Lanka.
Without R&D, we couldn't proceed furthermore. So I think General Manager has a good idea about R&D works, and he will do what we need. Thank you very much, R&D section. What a wonderful video it was. Urban development and water security go hand in hand, building a sustainable future. Policies that integrate urban growth with effective water management solutions are crucial in meeting the demands of a growing population.
To shed light on the government's vision and strategies in this regard, we are honoured to invite Mr. Anura Karunatilaka, Honourable Minister of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, to deliver the address. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. Our keynote speaker, Professor Asela Pathirana and Dr. Lalit Liyanagi, Deepthi Sumanasekara, engineer and chairman of the Water Board and General Manager, I forgot Mr. Our Additional Secretary, representing the Secretary of the Mr. Naimuddin, and General Manager, Engineer T. Bhattachan, esteemed researcher, policymakers, and distinguished guests. And there are many other academics as well. It is great honor to address you today at this prestigious International Water Conference, the 9th Research Symposium, and the celebration of World Water Day, making the 50th anniversary of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. This milestone reflects the Sri Lanka's state past commitment in achieving Sustainable Development Goal 6, that is clean water and sanitation, which aims to ensure the availability and the sustainable management of water sanitation for all. Today, we gather to explore one of the most crucial resources in our planet, that is water. We come together not just to share the knowledge, but to inspire the action, because the future of water is the future of our life. Water is the foundation of all livings, so it sustains our ecosystem and fuels agriculture and powers industries, and yet, despite its abundance, water scarcity, pollution, and climate change threaten its availability and the quality of the water. So, the work you do in water research is not just academic, it is just lifetime for all communities across the globe. Sri Lanka is, as an island nation, has diverse and very complex water system that play a crucial role in environment, agriculture, and economy. Water research in Sri Lanka focus in various key areas, including water resource management, pollution control, climate change adaptation, and sustainable usage of water. As we know that Sri Lanka has over 103 rivers, more than 103 rivers, and many reservoirs and groundwater sources that provide water for drinking, agriculture, and industry. Rise in temperature, erratic rainfall, and increase in drought threaten Sri Lanka water availability and the quality. Research is being conducted on rainwater harvesting, drought-resistant crops, and early warning system for flood and droughts. Impact of sea level rise on coastal groundwater source and effort to prevent saline intrusion into fresh water system that attract the research area for many academics and researchers. Pollution from agriculture, industry, and urbanization is a growing concern in our water quality. Microplastic, heavy metals, and agrochemical contamination in rivers and lakes are being studied by the many researchers. Programs to improve wastewater treatment and reduce pollution in major water bodies like Kalani River and Beira Lake. Also, we need to pay more attention in your research areas. Many rural communities depend on groundwater water wells, but over extraction and contamination pose risk. Studies on the link between the kidney disease and groundwater contamination, especially in the north central province, where the chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology is prevalent. Research on alternative water resource and such as desalination and artificial groundwater recharge. Government and many NGO, non-governmental organizations are promoting water conservation and education and community-based water management programs. Research on ingenious water conservation techniques such as Sri Lanka ancient cascade tank system known as Illanga, which efficiently manage water and agriculture and human consumption. We know that research alone is not enough. We must bridge the gap between the science and the policy, ensuring the discoveries translate into actions. Government, private sector, and academic institutions must work hand in hand, to implement water conservation strategies and enforce policies that protect this precise resource. As an engage in discussion today, let us remember that every drop of water saved, every policy improved, and every innovation shared brings us closer to sustainable future in water sector. I urge you all to continue your vital work and collaborate beyond the disciplines and be advocate for responsible water stewardship. As you know that for last 5 decades, National Water Supply Drainage Board has been at the forefront for providing safe and reliable water service to the people of Sri Lanka. This long journey helped us to achieve serving for more than half of our population, for providing clean water and sewerage system, for few selected cities, of course, sewerage system. All these water and sanitation infrastructure are required huge investment. As we celebrate this achievement, we must also admit that the challenges ahead, climate change, urbanization, and growing water demand especially. These issues require us to think differently and act decisively and work collaboratively. Now, more than ever, we must embrace technological advancement, enhance research capabilities, and implement policies that foster long-term sustainability. This gathering brings together policymakers, researchers, industry experts, and community leaders to exchange ideas, showcase advancements, and develop strategies for a water secure future. It is through such partnerships that we can drive innovation, strengthen governance, and build resilience in our water system. So this research and discussion taking place here will shape up the policies and projects that define future of water management, not only in Sri Lanka, but also across the globe. As the Ministry of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, we assure you of our government unwavering commitment to improving water infrastructure, promoting digital transformation, and ensuring sustainable water governance, investment in smart water management, wastewater treatment, and climate adaptation strategies. They are critical in overcoming the present challenge of today Sri Lanka water quality. not only today but also tomorrow. We must also prioritize the capacity building, knowledge sharing, and community engagement to ensure that our water management strategies are inclusive and effective. Let us use this platform to inspire actions, foster collaboration, and find practical solutions for the challenges we are facing. Together, we can create a future where every citizen has access to safe and sustainable water resources. So, may this conference be a driving force for transformative change, turning ideas into action and solution into lasting impact. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your dedication and passion. So, this symposium as a platform for change, ensuring that future generations inherit a world where water remains abundant, clean, and accessible for all. So together we can shape a future where water is not just necessary but a legacy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for those invaluable insights. As we near the conclusion of this remarkable gathering, it is time to express our heartfelt appreciation to those who made this event possible. The success of the International Water Conference 2025 is a testament of dedication, commitment, and collaboration of numerous individuals and organizations.
To formally extend our gratitude, we now invite a leader who has been instrumental in steering operation of this conference with excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Engineer T. Bharati Dasan, General Manager of National Water Supply and Drainage Board, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, you all. Our Honorable Minister Anura Karnatilaga, Minister of Urban Development and Construction, Housing, and our Additional Secretary Najid Moody, so, and Chairman and the Board of Directors, and the keynote speakers Asela Patrana and Chairman Deepthi Sumanasegara, and the distinguished and esteemed speakers and donors and well-wishers and all those presented here today. I want to tell how we are going to link this research symposium to our actual implementation. We see in the past, we learned a lot of things from this research and symposium. Before that, the tsunami incident make more hour to implement those small package plants through this research. And at the same time, there is a laboratory exchanged from grassroots level. Even we build up the mobile laboratory from Radmalana to take to the respective areas, and we have given the service with the donor agencies. And other way, second, I want to tell another one, that emergency situation in 2009, there is most of the packages plants came from the donors, and even we workshop also developed and we installed. And the same, there is a pollutions. When in the, it's called in Jaffna, there is a very good groundwater aquifer. Then our laboratories are upgraded to the ISO. So then that laboratories we make use. Same way, I hope this 9th symposium will facilitate for us to move for the next journey. And at the same time, we have to strengthen our research activities in the rural areas. So there is a lot of community water supply schemes. The sustainabilities, we have to strengthen it through the social and environmental as well as concerns of energy. So then the sustainable energies, we can make use this small way of research that definitely the symposium will facilitate. So now we have to conclude the inaugural session of the International Water Conference 2025. It is my privilege to extend the heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of the organization, committee, and NWSDB. First and foremost, of our deepest gratitude goes to our chief guest, Honorable Minister Anura Karnatilaga, and esteemed dignitaries for their presence and valuable contributions. And sir, Honorable Minister has added immense significance to the milestone event in the 9th Research Symposium and 50th anniversary NWSDB. And we also extend our sincere thanks to Professor, our guest speaker, Asela Patirana. And sincere appreciation to our engineer Deepthi Sumanasegara, chairman of the NWSDB, and the board of directors for setting the tone of inspiring that welcome speech, and at the same time for this success of the research and symposium for these inaugural functions. And the special acknowledgement to go to the keynote speaker, Asela Patrana, and the secretary, on behalf of the secretary, our additional secretary was given the valuable speech. We learn from the speaker, there are two things. One is mainly on the construction of new schemes, and at the same time, operation and maintenance of the schemes. There are a lot of issues we have faced in the during the previous years. That is you all will aware that there is a Kalatuava Labugamo scheme. There is a major breakdown. Then we replaced our crews and immediately restore the water supply. Now our Honorable Minister and the Secretary and the Chairman and Board of Directors agreed to have an investment for the Western Province. I understand from the learning from UNESCO IIT that area, it is a lack our side. We are strengthening through our Consumer Asset Management Unit, very recently established through the ADP assistance. So we will extend the full replacing the pipeline. And at the same time, there is a JICA also funding for the Kalaniganga project stage 1. Then we are expecting another investment from the other donor ADP for the Ambatala 50,000 meter cube treatment plant and the distribution system. Definitely we will solve it. And at the same time, we are taking action to develop the southern province through assistance. That also we discussed with Honorable Minister and the Secretary. And at the same time, that the upcountries also we are going to develop. All 9 provinces will be benefited in the during the 4 or 5 years period. We can definitely bring it. So the special thank will go for our Professor Asela Patrana, came from UNESCO IIT here with us. So thank you, sir. And your expertise and vision have provided the strong foundation for the discussion head and offering invaluable perspectives on global water challenges, innovations and solutions. Your dedication to research, knowledge sharing continue to inspire as well. Special note thank to the academic researchers and authors for their dedication and valuable contribution to this symposium. Your hard work, commitment to scientific inquiry and efforts in advancing the knowledge are truly commendable. On behalf of heartfelt gratitude goes to the additional secretaries, most of the sectional, our urban development authorities, secretaries, additional secretaries and other officials from the ministry department heads and representatives of various other institutions for their collaboration and unwavering support. Your partnership play a crucial role in advancing the water security and research and capacity building. Special appreciation to our foreign delegates for traveling to the part of conference. Your engagement strengthen the international cooperation and knowledge exchange, reinforcing our shared commitment to sustainable water solutions. We are also deeply grateful to the donors, sponsors, whose generous support has made this event possible. Your commitment to research, innovation, sustainable development is invaluable, and we look forward to continuing our collaboration. Finally, through all participation, thank you for being part of this important gathering. With this, we will formally conclude the inaugural session. The conference and proceedings and research symposium will now commence. We eagerly anticipate insightful discussion, groundbreaking research and collaborative exchange that lie ahead. Thank you once again. Wishing you all the productive and inspiring conference. Thank you.
We extend our sincere appreciation to Engineer T. Bharatidasan for his thoughtful words of gratitude. His reflections on collective effort and unwavering dedication of all involved in making this conference a success, a fitting end to this milestone event.
As we bring the opening ceremony of the International Water Conference 2025 to a close, we take a moment to reflect on the insightful discussions, thought-provoking addresses, and the shared vision that has brought us all together today. This conference serves as a pivotal platform for fostering dialogue, exchanging expertise, and forging meaningful collaborations in the realm of water management, sustainability, and innovation. The morning session has set the stage for impactful deliberations, highlighting the urgency and importance for sustainable water resource management in shaping our collective future.
As we close the opening ceremony, we now encourage all of you to explore poster presentations in the second floor of this Sievas complex, where researchers, innovators, and industry professionals will showcase their groundbreaking work and pioneering solutions. And also, the exhibition will be open in the first floor for you to discover innovative solutions and exchange ideas with exhibitors. Thank you for your active participation, for being an integral part of this esteemed gathering. Research Symposium will be commenced straight after the lunch by 1 p.m. in this auditorium, Hall G and Hall H. And also you can participate with business forums after the lunch in Hall E and Hall F in this Sievas complex. Enjoy the networking opportunities, and we'll reconvene for the afternoon session with renewed enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Form the foundation of lasting success. They drive us to assess our ethical and sustainable practices, extending far beyond financial metrics. ESG seamlessly aligns environmental responsibility with social equity and robust governance. As Sri Lanka's premier telecom provider, SLT Mobitel recognizes our duty to uphold sustainability and ethics in every aspect of our operations and technological innovations. We invite you to join us on this journey of co-connection as we work together towards a more sustainable and equitable tomorrow.